Okay, so we are talking about authentication. When we say authentication, we wanna secure our application. We just want legit users be able to access our application, and that involves user registration, user login, persisting their session, and log out to to go back to a lack resources. We don't want anybody access protected resources. Okay, and I know that all of you are well versed in using applications, implementing or using these functionalities, because this is very common in application, be it web app or mobile app. You have to register, you have to log in, and um, when your session basically reaches a certain amount of inactivity, okay, it's going to automatically log out. Okay, so before we continue, let's just tackle, guys, about this flow. So I want you guys to listen. Okay, so we're going to deal with registration, logging in, then how are we going to store the session, and then log out. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is secure the, you're going to create the login functionality. So how are we going to do that? So I have here a base application that doesn't have user authentication yet. Okay, so I'm going to use that. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open my MySQL. We're going to use database. This time we're going to use MySQL. Apache. No, Sun. Oops. Okay, we have there the sum. Going to use PHP development server, so I'm going to need Apache, and my application is in a different path other than the HTTP. So I'm just going. It's up to you what is comfortable, guys. Okay, you can use the PHP server, or you can put your project files in the HTTP and access your files or your application via the Apache. Okay, or serve your files via the Apache server. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, I'm going to open my uh, base files that is located in downloads, ls. We have there. I'm just using commands, terminal commands, with something you need to also learn. Okay, it's a basic auth folder. So cd change directory basic auth, and then ls. I have there a folder basic auth. I'm going to open that. So to open it, I can run code and then basic. I am running the code application, which is VS Code, and then the folder basic auth. So I will have a new window opening my base application. Now, let me just run this one. Okay, let me just run it using the PHP server, which I already taught you. So we can run PHP dash capital S, serve it at localhost. I think port 80 is available for the default port. As you can see, it's working. Login. Um, it doesn't have user authentication yet. Okay, so it says here welcome to dashboard, but we don't want that to happen. We want that a user can only go to our main page, or dashboard, when he was able to log in. So I have here login. So I have a problem displaying. Okay, I have a problem displaying my, what do you call this, um my page, because it has a problem connecting to the database. So to fix that, let me quickly connect to my database using command line interface, or you can use your PHP my admin, which I cannot use right now because my Apache is not started. Let me just use MySQL dash u new rule. I think the password is blank. Yeah, it's blank. So I'm getting error here because what I set, the password, what I set as password is one. It should be blank. But let me tell you, if you are working with application, it's a good thing to create a custom user for your application. So let me just show it with you. We can create user, say app. The username is app at localhost identified by, say the password is just 1234. This will create a user name app.localhost so that when I go back here, the username will be app. Okay? And then the password is 1234. And let me create a database for that. But before it, yeah, let me create a database. Create database. Let me just call it web app. Let me just use that one. Let me just use host app. Okay, host app DB. Okay, and I'm going to grant all privileges to the user that we created. Grant all privileges on host app, the name of our database, everything in it, to the user that we created, app at localhost. Okay, yeah, just like that. And then grant, flash privileges. I don't know if this is already introduced to you in your information management, but it's common guys to create your tailored user to protect your database because the root has all the power. We don't want to expose that with our application. So a good practice is create a custom user for our application. Okay, and then we are going to grant privileges. When we say privileges, all privileges is everything that a user can do, including select, create, insert, and so on and so forth for our database. Okay, to app localhost, and then we have to flash the privileges. Then the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to edit this. The name of my database is host app. You don't need actually to do this. I'm just showing you some best or some good practices. But if you can connect to your database, you are good to proceed. Okay, save and 3306 is my port. How do I know that? It's in there. But sometimes your database is configured with different port. Okay, especially in school units, the default 3306 sometimes is changed differently because it's conflicting with other application. Even with your computer, if you have Skype and other applications that share that port, it's a good thing to change the port that your database is using. Then the next thing that I'm going to do, let me check. Okay, refresh this. Still, it's not yet. Okay. The username is up 1234 us up. Did you notice the problem? No. Yeah, the Apache is only useful or needed if I am using the Apache. I'm not using Apache. Apache is only used to serve the PHP file. Okay? Like what I've said, you can use Apache or you can use the PHP server, development server. Now my problem, it says there, I cannot connect host up. Is it host up? No, okay, it's host up DB. I misspelled it. Let me refresh. It should work now. Okay, it worked now. I'm connected to the database. Now, as you can see, this doesn't work yet. Now, let me work with the registration quickly. It's already created. Okay, to save time. Let me increase that one. Okay, and let me open the register. It's just a basic form with some codes in it already. Let me just delete it. Okay, let me just delete. And I'm just going to copy paste codes later on to save time. Okay, so this is my form, blank form. It has some field in it, username, email, password, and repeat password. Now, I'm going to do the form handling already. Okay, so what we want is, when this form is saved, you want to collect all the field values and register that to the user database. But I think a we don't have yet a user table in our database. So we're going to create one. Where is it? I'm going to create one. Where's my code? Okay. So let me open again my this one, and I'm going to create a user. Where is that one? This one. Let's create a user table. Again, you can do this with your PHP admin if you are if you feel convenient to do that. But let me just do that in the terminal. So we are going to create a table user, create table users. Then what do we need? We need ID. Let me just use user ID. This is an int, auto increment, primary key. Then we also have username. This is a varchar of, say, let's just make it 100, and it should be unique. Okay, and not null. Not null, and it should be unique. Meaning, there should be no other rows that share the same username. Same is true with email, which is a varchar also of size 100, not null, meaning it's required, and it should also be unique. Nobody should have the same email. Okay, and then password, let's just make it maybe 128 character. I'm not sure with how many character does the hashing create, so we're just going to use that. I think typically it's between 64, 128, using those, series, number series, or what do you call that? We have the series basically 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 1 to 8, and so on and so forth. We'll just use that. And this should also be not null. It should be required. And lastly, the created path, which is a good practice, guys, to create a timestamp column for when a record is created. This is a timestamp, okay? And the default value is, we can set it to the current timestamp. This will create, every time you create a record, guys, it will create a timestamp on the record. Okay, it's going to create, the value of this column will be the current. Okay, that's what I mean. Timestamp. Okay, and then I think we are good to go. We're just going to close that in semicolon. No database selected, of course. Use auth app db. Then let's run it. Problem now is I'm going to rewrite it. Email, password, create app. Okay. It's created. And the next thing is we're going to let's go back here. Okay, let's validate our form. So how do we do that? So we're going to check if the the form is submitted, we can check if server request method is equal to cost. Okay, the three equal there is strict checking. It should be same casing, same value, same data type. Okay, and then let me just get the validation here. I think I can access it here. Ano ko ba nilagay yun? Okay, I'm just going to copy paste my created codes to save time, and I'm just going to explain it to you individually. Okay, we're just trying to save time here. It's already 9:39. Okay, let's. So the idea behind it is you collect, okay, the fields value, You validate it. I already taught you how to validate. Okay. And we're going to save the records to our database. Okay. I think I won't be able to copy the existing code. Let me see if it's in here already. So that's logging in. Is it logging in? Ah, okay, I have it here. Okay, sample code for form validation. Okay, so let me just copy that. Copy this. But if you're going to work on your own project, I suggest that you do not just copy the codes. I want you to type it because it aids in your understanding of how this works. Okay, wait. Okay, I'm going to paste it there. Okay. And then let's just make sure that we have the same field name. So this is username, email, password, and then password. So I'm going to collect them together here. So before I'm going to do the checking, I'm going to collect them. So I have um, username. Username should come from my $sign post username. Okay, and then the email is equal to $underscore email. Okay, and then for the password is equal to post password. Okay, and then there is another which is the password. Okay, password or the repeat password. Since this is user registration, it's a common practice, guys, to verify the user password. This is password. Okay? And then let me just add with this one, all fields are required. Or, okay, empty password. So what we are doing here in the first validation check is we make sure that the fields are not empty, and I can continue. I can actually do the trimming here. Okay, let me just do this. Oops, sorry. Control D. Then I'm going to have trim. Then and delete. Okay, so I just, okay, the problem is I misspelled the trim. That should be trim. Okay, I make sure that I remove insignificant white spaces for the leading and the trailing spaces. Okay, they should be required. And then I proceeded to validating the email. The email should be of the filter validate email or the valid email format. You can use the filter val. Okay? And then another, else if I have another one, I should have the same password. Else if, how do we do that? Okay, like this. Password. In PHP, you can basically compare string with the same as you are using with arithmetic. Unlike in Java, you cannot do that in Java. But in PHP, you can do it. You can do that. So I have to make sure that my password is the same as my password. Okay? Otherwise, if it's not, then the error will be password confirmation mismatch, like that. So I don't have an array error here because in my form it's just a single string, but for better implementation you make use of array. But let me just use a single text or single string. That error will be, will have these values. Okay. Else, if there is no error, okay, I can proceed to first, I have to check another validation here. Check if the user is already existing. So I have here if users were emailed, and then or username. There should be two conditions here, the email and the username. Both of them should be unique if they are already present. Okay, what we are doing here, we are checking our database if there's a user with the same email or the same username that this current registrant has inputted. Kung meron na existing na yung username at saka yung email. So we can do that by a simple check with this one. A statement execute. By the way, we can pass the bind param, okay, using array. Okay, you can do that with array. This is the username. Okay, we are checking whether the email or the username is existing. If the row count is greater than 0, email, user already registered. We can just say user already exists. We can just say like that. Like that. This is another error. Else, if the user is not yet existing, we can proceed to, first, we have to hash the password. Password hash, there is a function called password hash. We pass in the string, and then an algorithm. We are just using the default password algorithm. I think this is using bcrypt. I just don't remember. Bcrypt algorithm. You can actually quickly check on that. The algo in here, open. We can check what is the current algorithm. There are lots of algorithms that we can use. And sure enough, okay, it's using the bcrypt algorithm, and there's so many other. You can use Argon I. They just differ in how they encrypt. When we say encrypt, what do you mean encrypt? They're going to mask your password. They're going to represent your password in a difficult human readable format. It takes time for the hacker to crack the password. Okay, even you are storing this in the database, the benefit of hashing the password is this: if your database is compromised, ibig sabihin na-hack nila, hindi pa rin nila agad-agad malalaman yung password mo kasi naka-encrypt yung password. Okay? So we have to make it hash. We hash it, and then, okay, we are going to proceed to inserting the new user. Okay, insert into users. With these fields, huwag na natin ilagay yung user ID because it's auto-increment. We just have to fill in the username, email, and of course the password with 3 parameters. And we can execute it without using the bind param. Di ba yung bind param yung ginamit natin last time? Pwede nyo nang ipasa as an array yung mga tatlong ito. So this first represented by username, the second question mark in the email, and the hash password is third placeholder. Okay? If the insert is success, we're going to create a session. But before that, okay, session success, registration successful, please log in. Okay, header location. Actually, okay. Ang script nito, it wants us to go to the login.php after successful login, and there is a session variable created already, and we are dealing with session already. Okay, now are we going to use this? But maybe I'm not going to use this right now. I'm going to deal with that later on. Okay, if the insert is unsuccessful, there will be another error. Let's try this one. Let's run this one, save it. Okay, hopefully you understood how those pieces of code works. Let me let that open. Okay, and then refresh this one. Line 85, there's an error. Line 85, I think we have an extra. Where's the 85 there? What is this one? Line 85. Maybe we have some extra. This one, I think it doesn't have. Where is that? The partner of this is, there's a missing pair or match. Yeah, I think this one, the one, this one. This is missing a partner. Wala siyang asawa. Yan. Save. Refresh. Okay. Username. John. John at gmail.com. Password 1234. Confirm password. If we're going to not do that. Yeah, we already have a client validation rule. There's a problem. Undefined variable PDO, of course. To include the we forgot to include the database. I have to include it here. Maybe I'm just going to do it here. PDO, no, include or require. We just want the require. Require once, and then db.php. That db.php is just my connection to the database. Okay, yan siya. We did not have that. And let me have db username. I think this will conflict. Okay. Anyway, we created a new username here. That will be. Let me just move this one. Move this one. I don't want to connect to the database if the username is just registering without submitting the form yet. Okay. So connect to the database. Connect to the database. Save. And let me just refresh this one. Let me just refresh the code. I mean the page. Oops. Got it. Refresh. Continue. And I think, okay, I was redirected to the login. It's a good sign that the insert or the registration worked. Let's just try it. Select asterisk from users. And sure enough, we already have a new user there. And the password is encrypted. Okay, you cannot read that, even though we know it's 1, 2, 3, 4. But if that will be hacked, okay, the hacker will not readily know what is the password. So it's still, there's a layer of security in there. Now, I can go now and log in. But of course, this doesn't have any logic yet. So we are going to work on our login already. Let me switch my file there. Okay. Same thing that we're going to do. We're going to check whether the form rather is submitted already. And I want that to be moved here. I only want to be connected to the database if the form is submitted already. And we will have another error there. Okay, same with the registration because we are using a login error here. Let me just change that to error like that. And I will just go and grab the code. Hopefully, I can copy and paste it, but technically I cannot do it. So it's here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fetch the user. And then next thing is we're going to check whether the user exists and we have to verify the password. Otherwise, we're going to display an error, invalid login credentials. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. So password verify. Okay, let's do it. So the login needs email or username. Okay. It can log in using the user email or the username. So what are we going to do? Since I cannot copy and paste that, I'm just going to quickly grab those fields. Do we have user there? Yeah, the name, the email is the user. Okay, it's the user. The field for the password is password. Okay, so what I will do, let me not just do that. Let me just use user there and then password. This is also password. Okay, then next is let's validate the form if empty user or empty password. then you will get an error. Username or password field. Okay, it should be N. Okay, and then else, if the form is valid, of course, let me not forget, sorry, let me not forget trimming this. It's always needful to trim. Okay, huwag kayong tamarin na i-validate. Anong nangyari? Huwag kayong tamarin na i-validate yung form nyo kasi kailangan yan. It's required. And then next, I'm going to proceed to, reading the user already. I can just grab this one. Okay, because they just have the same logic. Copy. Paste it here. Okay. Select asterisk from user email is equal to question mark or username is equal to question mark. Okay. And then I'm going to save the result in a variable. Okay, what's wrong with this? Maybe, I forgot semicolon. And here, we can save this one, the user in a statement fetch. Okay, statement fetch. Okay. We will have user there is equal to a statement, and then fetch. What does fetch do? It's going to read the result of our SQL statement. Okay? And save it in variable. Now we're going to check if user is available and password verify. We're going to use the password verify function. We pass in the password and the column password. Okay. Password. You can interchange these two. It's only compare this and then this one. Of course, what it does, it's going to encrypt this and compare it to the encrypted value from the database. Kaya yan yung ginagawa niya. Para hindi na tayo magmano-manong ganon. If this is correct, okay, then we can proceed to logging in. Let me just do the else part. Else, if the user is available but the password is wrong, it's going to do error. It's going to create an error notification. Invalid login credentials. Like that. Otherwise, we can now proceed and start the session. Start, which we can basically do on top. Start the session. And then we're going to create session variables which are similar to your $_sign underscore host and $_ server. It's stored in the session variable. You can have the user will be, you can have, I think the user is just an array here. You can store the array there. But in our example code, it's just, okay, it's just storing the user ID. The user ID, the username, and even the email, we can do that. User ID, and then user is user ID, and then another session variable. These are just variables that we can access anywhere in our pages, okay, as long as those are not destroyed, because sessions are destroyable. So username and then username, this should store the username, and let's just have an extra. Maybe we are going to use it later on. Session, whatever is needed, okay, you can store in the session. Even the notification that the login is successful was recorded in the session. We're going to use that later on. So I just what do you call that? username, email. Okay? And then lastly, to secure our session, there is a code there that says that we had to regenerate our session ID to avoid session hijacking or session fixation attacks. Because the hacker can use an existing session. So, for example, nag-login ka say 1 month ago or 1 week ago, and the session ID is still live, you can actually hijack that and illegally, log in into the web page using your account, utilizing the old session ID. So it's a good thing to use session regenerate ID true. After that, so session, no, it's actually a function, session regenerate ID, and then this should be true. Okay, regenerate session ID. And then other thing is, okay, you use session.cookie secure equal to 1 if you are in the HTTPS. We are not using HTTPS yet. It's just an HTTP. And then we will just implement this later on. Okay, limit session duration, which is a good thing. When we say limit the session, let the session, what do you call that? Duration, what if the user forgot to log out? So there should be a mechanism to auto log out or auto destroy the session para maiwasan, okay, yung, compromise yung account nyo. I think that is it. Let's try it. Try na natin siya. Save. And before we do that, mag na tayo. Header, we are going to go to the index.php. Location, index.php. Okay, after successful login, save. Let's try our form. Save it. Continue. You can see invalid credential. Undefined variable email. Okay, let's check that out. Let's check that out. Undefined variable email in line 24. Line 24. This one. Of course, because I am using just the user. So I'm going to change this to user and also user. Because one field, okay, the email and the username share the same field, which is recorded in the user. Okay? Just save that one. And then try logging in with wrong password. I'll get invalid login credentials. Okay? Though the user already exists. How about wrong user? Still same error. So I'm going to make this blank. That won't work. John, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Login. Okay, welcome to dashboard. Okay? But there's a problem here. If I'm going to go to index.php and I'm going to open a incognito, okay, I still can go there. How are we going to, avoid that? Of course, we are going to check session already in every pages, and it's very pretty basic. You can begin all your for the pages, okay, for the pages that you want protected, you always have to check the session. So how are you going to do that? We already have that in our code. It says there in this one, restricting access to authenticated users. So you can, of course, type the session start. Okay, let's have a PHP code there. Okay, every protected part of your application, since I want this full page to be protected, then I can just do it on top. But if you just want to protect a portion of your application, like just a single article element, then you can do the session checking there. Okay, so session start, I'm going to have session start. Okay, that one, and we have to check if a session variable is set, any of the 3 variables that we have created. You can use user ID, username, or email. But let me just use the user ID. If not, ang ginamit doon is set. Okay, of course, we are going to check whether it is set or it is existing. If session under if $ underscore session, the name of the session ID, I mean the session ID is user ID, then meaning the user has already logged in. It says there, if it is yes, no, rather, if this is true, meaning hindi pa na-create yung user ID na session, then what we will do, redirect to login page. Okay? How do we do that? We use the header, and then location, login that page. Let's try that one. Okay? If I'm going to go here, refresh, that would work. But if I'm going to refresh in this, which is the incognito, meaning there's no session here, this is a separate session from the non-incognito window. If I'm going to refresh this, it's not going to let me in because I have to log in first. Index.php, I cannot go. I cannot, illegally access that page because I haven't created a session. In other words, I haven't logged in yet. Now, there's another security measure that we can use, the auto log out, which is this thing. Okay, typically you can just do that. This one, the checking of the activity in every pages that you want protected. But of course, the session last activity is equal to time should be, how do we do that? Yeah, we can do that in every place. So how do we do that? Is before we destroy, okay, before we check, before we set the last activity time, we have to check, okay, for the time duration. So how do we do that? Let me just put it here. So let's add here before the session start. Okay. Check. No. Update session activity. Okay. How do we do that? We can say session is equal to session last activity. Ang purpose nito guys is to auto log out. Okay. Time, we have a function time which is the current time. It's just a timestamp. And then after that, we can do on top of that the checking of the last activity. You do not do it after that, you do it before it. Okay? Log out after say 1 seconds. So nyo 1 seconds para makita nyo. Log out after 1 second or 5 seconds na lang of inactivity. How do you do that? If time function, which is the current time, minus session, and then you access the last activity item or variable, session variable, last activity, okay, is greater than, that should be greater than how many is 5 seconds. So that's 5 times 1,000, that's 5,000. Wait. Okay, 180. For 30 minutes. Wait. Let me just calculate. 30 minutes. That's 60. Okay. 5 is 5 minutes. So how do we do 5 divided by 60? 5 times 1 second, right? 1 divided by 60. 1 divided by 60, that's 1 divided by 60. That's 0.016. Because if you want, guys, okay, to pursue our session to 30 minutes, to 5 minutes, that's 5 times 60 is, that's how many? 5 times 60. So that will be 300. Hindi gumagana yung mental math. Okay, so say 300. 300 for 5 minutes. Let's just try, say 5. Okay, if this is true, then we're going to session, destroy everything, session unset. Okay, that's how you destroy it. Another one is session destroy. The session unset, it's going to invalidate or remove every session variable. The session destroy is basically, what's the difference? Destroy all data registered to a session. The unset is basically, okay, free all session variables. Okay, that one or this one, and then we're going to header to go back to our login.php. Login.php. I'm very curious. Wait nga lang. Okay, let's try this one. Let's go here. Let's go to login. As we can see, we still have okay, I forgot to add this one. I have to place this basically. I have to place that in my login dito. Maglagay din ako dyan ng last activity. Save. Okay, let me go back here and log in. Now, the one that has, okay, let me just have it in here. In the private window. John 1, 2, 3, 4. Successful. Let's wait for 5 seconds. Refresh. Do we have 5 seconds already? Okay, it's destroyed. Okay. So how are we going to do that? In here, because this is repetitive, it's a good thing, guys, to just place this in a separate file and just include it. But in here, before I go and head back to the login, let me just have a session. Let me have a session variable here. Session. What is that? Just a message. Session message. Okay, is equal to session destroyed. Session destroyed. Or you are logged out. You are logged out na lang. You are logged in again. Okay? And also, in my login or the one, I'm just going to enable this one. Okay? And just change success to message. Okay? Message, and then I'm going back in my anywhere in my login. I want to display that. It's in here. Okay, I will just say if, let me copy this one, copy that. Let me display session messages. You can use session messages, guys, okay, to display messages from one pages to another pages. Okay, session. If the session message variable is set, then I'm going to display that here. Class error, let me just have message maybe, or just success. I'm going to change that message, and then this should be session, and then the ID is message. And of course, since I'm accessing session here already, I have to place the session start. Where is the session? Okay, anyway, the session start is in here, by the way. You do not, okay, the technique here, guys, is you do not access session variable unless you have called the session start. Session start should be called first before you utilize the session variables. If I'm going to save this one, okay, and let me go to my CSS, let me recreate the error style, that error, the p that error, I want to change that, make it message, and I'm just going to change the color, maybe with the one information. Oops, the border left should be something darker, face, something darker, and then the background color is something lighter, like that. Save. If I'm going to go back to my page again, okay, let me just refresh this one. There's a warning. Undefined global variable session. Session, I think wrong spelling. Okay, don't you worry, guys. We only have 14 minutes before the dismissal. Let me just finish these things up. Session, message. Okay, before I have again, I'm going to call the session start there. Yeah. I know this is not the error. It's actually in the login. I forgot. I remind you, before you call the session, you should have the session start. And where is it? Session. I think wrong spelling. Wait, what's that? I thought you collapsed. It's set. Okay, which line is it? It's line 51. What it says? Trying to access array offset on null, meaning it's nothing, but we have checked it, by the way. If okay, that should be that. Okay, if is set message, there should be that. Hindi ko dapat nilagay yung tinatawag na not doon. Refresh ko na doon. I'm going to refresh it. Okay? At I'm going to log in. Dyan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Refresh. Expired. We don't have the prompt message. Why? Okay. Yeah, because it is basically destroyed in here. Na-destroy na siya dito kaya wala yung message. Yeah, I have to do it also here. Session start, session destroy, and then let me start again. Let me just put it there. Okay. Let me see if I can set a session variable after session unset and session destroy. So basically, I went to the login page because my session expired after 5 seconds of inactivity. But this is not typical, guys. I'm just trying to demonstrate to you how the logic of inactivity works. Okay, let me just try it again. And then, I still have to do the logout. It's so simple to do that. So, dyan, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, na-reset na yung na-refresh. I think I counted too fast. Okay. And As you can see, the message did not work because I think I have to restart the session. Session start again here. That's the reason why the message didn't work. And to verify that, let me log in again. Voila. The session message. This is strange. Okay, let's just figure out. Anyway, it's just not important right now. It's not just behaving the way I expect it. Okay, for now, let me just remove that. Okay, now let's handle the logout. It's just so simple. Let me go to my index. Let's say welcome to dashboard, and then we're going to display uh, echo session, then username. Okay, save that one. Save. We can access the username via the session. Let me close this one. And of course, I have to increase my inactivity because that's not practical. So in my index.php, I should increase this one to 1,800 equal to 30 minutes. Okay, that's 30 minutes. Okay, so, let me go back here and the number of inactivity. Well, where is my page? The one, let me just use this one. John. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, welcome to dashboard, John. Now, let me have a link there to log out, log in. You can use a form or you can just use a link to log out. So it's just like this. Where is the index? I can have there a link. A href logout.php, then logout. Then let's create a logout.php, logout. And in there, it's so simple. I just have to get this repetitive code here, which I told you, you can place it in, you can place it in separate file. What do I need here is just this one. I just need this one. I'm going to remove this one. I'm not going to even check, okay? Because I am simply logging out, okay? So I just have to run this one, okay? Session start, session unset, session destroy, that's just log out. I'm going to save this one, okay? If I'll go back to my page, refresh, I'll get the logout there, click logout. If I'm going to go back to my index, I can no longer get in because my session is destroyed. So I have to log in again. Let me check the register here again. Jane at gmail.com 1234 1234 register. Okay, and then Jane 1234. So I'll get a new user with, if I'm going to log out, made-destroy na yung tinatawag na session natin. Now, let me just put repetitive things in, cut repetitive things in a file. Let me just call it session check dot php. Place it there. Okay. And then if I'll go here, I have to have that require once session check that php, and every place that you want it protected, new file, for example, another .php, and I want that to be protected too, guys. So I'm going to just say h1. Oops. Say this is just saying another protected page. Every place that you want protected, you can include the session check. Or you can just alter its code. Depende guys sa kanyo. Require once and then session check. .php. That one. So that when I go there in another .php, I still have, it will still have to redirect me to login because I am not logged in. Okay, so if I'm going to go to another .php, I can already access it. Okay, if I'm going to log out, it's going to destroy my session. You understand it, guys? But there's only one thing. I still have 5 minutes. Uh, cannot get out of my mind is this thing. It's not working. The message thing there. Okay, I think I have this. I got this wrong. Sana yung login? Log out. Sana yung log out natin? Ay, ito. Login. If is set session message, then I'm going to display this one. So, let's try. Yeah, I already did the registration, but it's still not working. Session start, session message. Okay, I have it there. Okay. And I should get the message session. If I'll go back here, let me just paste it. If is set session message, did I start? Okay. I think I have to move this. I have to move that. The reason why I am not accessing that message is the session start is not placed on top where it's not available globally. I can place it there, session start, or I can place it there. It's up to you. It's valid. Okay? Let me just put it here. Save. And then in my index or in my DB session check rather, let me just create another session variable there. You are log out like that. Log in again. Now let's try this. Make it 5 seconds. And then log in again. John 1 2 3 4 5. John, it's just 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4 5. Refresh. I still don't get it. Maybe, yeah, like what I've said, there should be the session start again in there because I unset it or destroyed it. Refresh it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Refresh. And there you go. You are log out, log in again. This will also be displayed asdf at gmail.com 1234 1234. I should also get that. Registration successful. Please log in. This is coming from the session. Okay, do not forget that before you use the session, there should be a session started. You always call the session start function before you use the session. Okay? And for logout, it's so simple. You just, of course, start the session in this page so you can access the session thing because you cannot session unset unless you do that. If you want this, if you want it to, to try, John, log in, log out. This is strange. Log in, log out. Registration successful. Please log in. Why am I getting that? Yeah, I think that's the problem. Session start. Save. Let's do it. Last. Log out. There you go. You need to always call the session start even before session unsetting and session destroying. Okay? And hopefully you understood our topic today. I'm going to provide you this video and wait for further announcement regarding our meeting later on. Goodbye, guys. Wait. Mag-check muna pala ako ng attendance. Attendance, pala muna. Check tayo ng attendance. Tignan niyo yung walang mukha dyan. Absent natin yung walang mukha. Okay. Open cam for those who are online. Guys, tignan niyo yung walang mukha. I-absent natin. Webdem 1. Webdem 2. Okay, Almodovar. Aquino. Aquino.
Sir, present.
Oh, walang mukha. Absent. Aquino. Kapili. Clavio. Oy. Clavio. Dacumos. Oh, meron ka na. Dacumos.
Sir, present. Sir, present.
Dumagin. La, nakariring lagi na. Gimukmukat pa lang. Dumagin. Where are you? Wala ka? Mr. Dumagin? Elpa? Hupano? Wala si Elpa? Elpa? Hupano? Wala din si Hupano? Dapat lagi mukmuka mo. Makagba? Makugay? Wala na. Madayag? Madayag?
Sa present, sir.
Madayag. Nisperos? Kimson?
Present, sir.
Roldan? Rubis?
Present, sir.
Rubis? Mr. Rubis? Sanchez? Sanchez, wala? Santos? Selpa? Bira? Mabutas? Mabutas? Cariza?
Present.
Velasco? Okay. Goodbye, guys. Excited na kayo?